This is Black History Month every day with Prophetess Chylanna Shay. Week 1. Like I said, we get into old civilizations in Africa. Now, when studying early civilizations of Africa, you tend to only hear about Egypt, the whitewashed version from the Greeks. The study of early civilizations in Africa is called Egyptology. This study tends to whitewash Egypt in an attempt to separate the accomplishments of the early Africans out of Africa and trying to push Egypt out of Africa and into the Middle East. By doing so, the world can begin to follow the notion set by European colonizers and white supremacy that Africans and melanated people were inferior to Europeans and whites. To this day, with all the cultural mixing from the Greeks and other invading forces of the past, the people of Egypt don't consider themselves African. Now, when we were taught and studied Egypt in American schools, it always starts with some straight-haired, pointy-nosed, very pale-skinned Egyptians. And that just isn't the case in the early periods of African civilization. The Greeks heard about all the riches in Africa, mainly the Nile Valley, where the abundance of natural resources, gold, ivory, animals, bronze, the rich fertile soil, and the water that flows through the land. They also heard about the amazing structures built, the education, the government, and they came to learn from the people of the Nile. At this time, the land was called Kemet, dark people, or dark soiled land, or Ethiopia and Egypt, like the colonizers want to call everything Ethiopia. During the 25th dynasty, you have the area of Nubia, present-day Sudan. Lower Nubia, Upper Nubia was called Kush. This is the period of the Nubian dynasty, the Kushite Empire, and also known as the reign of the Black Pharaoh, circa 747 BC to 656 BC. This is the beginning of the construction of many pyramids and temples. What made this a strong dynasty is that it united the upper and lower Nile for further advance and accomplishments. The first to write on papyrus, have a government, very knowledgeable in astronomy and sciences, and is home of the Nabata Playa, known to be one of the world's first archaeoastronomical devices. They were able to use it as a calendar to track the stars and help guide them through the Nile at night. Contrary to popular belief, Sudan, which is ancient Nubia, and Kush, is home to over 200 pyramids, which is more than what have been found in present-day Egypt. We predate most things. We were here in the beginning laying groundwork for today's schools, governments, religion, and I can keep going. The people of Nubia, they are still around, and they are fighting to preserve their rich culture and legacy. You don't hear about the Nubians in the Bible. You surely hear about Kush in the kingdom of Kush, though. Now, people always stop here when studying early African civilizations. I'm going to name some others for further research. And y'all know I be trying not to mess up these names, ancestors, please, apologies. I'm in this, westernized world with this Western education. The Assamite Empire, or Axum, present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. The Ethiopian Empire, one of the longest to reign. They reigned until 1975. That's around the time of the Cold War. The Benin Empire, modern-day Nigeria. The Songhai Empire, Timbuktu. The Mali Empire, which we will get more in depth on them tomorrow. When you think of Africa, think of all that came from it. from that early cradle of civilization. Now, I'm going to get ready to let y'all hear directly from an African sister. So I'm going to go on and turn it over to the sister.
Africans, do you know why the main goal of colonization was to totally depopulate and involuntarily mix the entire African continent in order to repopulate it with other races? Well, I have a message for black people. So if you're not black, you can stay. But if you're black, I want you to listen and listen good. The reason why history repeats itself is because the world is cyclic and whatever goes around must come back around. There was a time that Africa ruled Europe for 800 years. And when I say ruled, I don't mean with guns and ammunition, but with knowledge, love, light, and black excellence. So now, I want you, black child, to know that we have cycled back to that time. A time when the kingdom of God belongs to the poor and the slaves, and mine is just to cut and raise. Yours is to step into your awareness of self. Yours is to go back within and get into union with your ancestors, your DNA. Get your ancestral membership back and remember all that you are. Because among you are the descendants of the likes of Mansa Musa, kings, queens. Among you are the DNA of the Talai, the tribe of the Lion of Judah. Among you are the inventors of the hieroglyphics. Among you are the architectures of the Great Pyramids, the incredible mathematics of the Ishango bone. Among you are the DNA of the Moors, the teachers of all modern European technology. Among you are the DNA that mentored great European philosophers like Pythagoras. As a black person, the DNA of slavery and colonization is not the only DNA that you carry, and they know that. The ancient, great African civilization is still present and imprinted deep in your soul. They can ban all the books and ruin all the universities, but your DNA is present. Your memory is present. Your ancestral knowledge is present deep in your soul and is yours forever. All I want to say is that there was a time they wanted to wipe you all off or mix you all up, so there was no one left to remember. There was a time that remembering who you are would have been a great crime, and so the ancestors had you forget to protect you. But I'm here to assure you that it is now safe to remember the African royalties among you. It is time for black people to experience the excellence of their own blackness. It is time to awaken the extreme talents and excellence that are deeply rooted within you. It is now safe to show the world who you are. Go within and remember. Join into one with your ancestors.
All right. I know y'all felt that. So yes, one more thing I want to mention. Those early African civilizations, they let the queen reign too. Please read up on some of the queens of the ancient African civilizations. That's one thing the Westerners didn't take. They wanted the queen, but they didn't want her to have no role. Our people have always been of two. It's always been a family structure. It's always been a king and a queen, a mother and a father, a man and a woman. So we must remember that, people. Also, look at your keyboard on your phone. We are the inventors of the early stages of the emojis. That's what hieroglyphics are, y'all. I thought that, that came into my mind when I got hooked on this brother, a little bit of knowledge from a brother, Frank Burrell, with Mental Magic Omniverse. That was about a year ago, and I was looking, I said, those are emojis. We are very creative, y'all. Don't ever let that creative spirit leave, y'all. I see y'all tomorrow.